everybody.
Good morning, Miss Charlotte.
And guests. So, you know how these things go. I have lost my list of all the special guests this morning, but I do remember some. So first of all, a very, very big welcome to Mrs. D. Corkett, who you all know, and Mrs. Janet Highland, who are both past principals, and I'd ask them to please sit on the stage with me, because this is such an important occasion. I also welcome Ms. Di Black, who was a teacher at Wynberg Girls under Miss Lawton, and of course our two girls. I also would like to welcome the past principals of the campus and current principals. What's your name again? No, I'm kidding. Dr. Jen Wallace and Mr. Cedric Polman from next door. Thank you, all the past teachers, all current teachers, past pupils, current pupils, and parents. Welcome. This is just such a special day where we've come together to pay tribute to Mrs. Vera Lawton, Miss Vera Lawton. So I am going to start the proceedings with a reading from Zoe. Rainer will come up and do the Bible reading for us.
For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up what is planted. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to throw away stones, and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to seek, and a time to lose. A time to keep, and a time to throw away. A time to tear, and a time to sow. A time to keep silence, and a time to speak. A time to love, and a time to hate. A time for war, and a time for peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Zoe. So, this morning we come together to pay special tribute to Vera Lawton, born on the 29th of July, 1926, and she died on the 29th of July, 2023. And that just sums it up, doesn't it? I think that's fantastic that you decide, that's it, same day. This morning, I have the honour and privilege of paying tribute to one of the past principals, Miss Lawton. She was principal for 28 years, from 1960 to 1988. This last week, I've researched Miss Lawton's life, and I am in absolute awe of her achievements and commitment to Wynberg Girls Junior School. I have read in past school magazines that under her guidance and leadership, this school flourished and went from strength to strength. Miss Lawton's association with the school goes back a lot further than 1960, when she became principal. She actually started her career as a first-year teacher at Wynberg Girls Junior School in 1947. And it even goes back further. She was a pupil at Wynberg Girls Junior School in her grade 5 year. While she was a class teacher at Wynberg, she also taught phys ed and taught all the grade 4 to 7 girls. Miss Lawton then left Wynberg for a while in the 1950s and took up a position as a lecturer at the Teachers Training College in Mowbray. She was appointed principal in 1960 at the age of 34 and was then known as the youngest headmistress in the Cape. Miss Lawton left behind a rich legacy. Interesting to note that when she started teaching in 1947, the school had 355 pupils. And by the time she left, there were 700 pupils, 32 teachers, and 2 secretaries. Miss Lawton was responsible for building the existing school hall, this hall that we're sitting in, the gym hall, the foundation block, and that was in 1981. Apparently this hall was a road that led to boys' school, is that correct? This very hall is named the Vera Lawton Hall. Miss Lawton was a very creative person who loved painting, and you can see her beautiful protea paintings in the school foyer. She also wrote the words for our school song that we will sing at the end of the service. The words from the song seem to sum up what she was and what she believed in. The words, "Here we learn to love, to give, in deeds both great and small. Here we learn the way to live in happiness with all." Mrs. Earle, who was a teacher at the time, wrote about her at her farewell. Miss Lawton was always brimful of ideas. She had the happy knack of getting straight to the heart of the situation, friendly and approachable, warm, sincere and understanding. Her encouragement, guidance and wise counsel were a hallmark of her dedicated service. Miss Lawton's younger brother, Mr. Eric Lawton, who resides in New Zealand, wrote a letter and asked me to read this today. He wrote, "The association of Vera Lawton's family with Wynberg Girls' School began more than a century ago. In 1901, our mother, Edith Allen, then aged 10 and newly arrived from Devon, began attending the Wynberg Ladies' Seminary, as the school was known at the time. She and her 4 sisters would walk the dusty and sometimes muddy road from the home their father had built in Lower Wynberg. The house still stands on the main road at the corner of Waterbury Road." Vera was also keen on sport and good at it. For years she played First League hockey for the Atlantic Club, was an excellent tennis player, and one year won the Western Province Ladies Single Championship at badminton. In retirement, she found much enjoyment watching sport on the television, always accompanied by insightful comments and advice to the players, which they, to their loss, could not hear. Retirement also gave her the time to indulge her love of gardening and of painting. The garden at her cottage in Woodside Retirement Village was always a blaze of colour. The spring flowering of her beloved azaleas was a great joy to her. She was still gardening actively well into her 90s. A latent artistic talent found expression in her painting, mostly in oils and of the Cape landscape that she loved. She sold some. I once helped pack 3 large frame paintings of Cape flora to be shipped to a Canadian buyer who had admired them on display at Kirstenbosch. But many she gave away, and those lucky enough to possess them will remember her and her generosity. Vera has an exceptional memory. Her recall of past pupils and of many parents was remarkable and a reflection of her genuine and deep concern for every individual as well as the school as a whole. Vera would be very humbled but also proud that she and her contribution to Wynberg Girls Junior is being remembered and celebrated today. A very special lady and a wonderful sister, Eric Lawton, her little brother in New Zealand. I also have a message from her secretary, Miss Roz Kutsia. And Ms. Kutsia wrote, "Unfortunately, I cannot be in Cape Town for a memorial service for Vera Lawton. I wonder if you would just read this note expressing my sincere condolences to her family. She was a special principal who made Wynberg Girls Junior what it is today. A happy, caring and devoted principal who afforded her students the best possible opportunity to be a success in whatever they chose her to do in life. Being her secretary for many years was special as we worked well together and became friends too. Rest in peace, Vera. I now call upon Mrs. Di Black, who taught with Miss Lawton and was in fact a teacher here when our very own Miss Lobsher was in grade 7. So, Mr. Black? No. You didn't teach her, but she was here in grade 7?
Good morning, everybody. On behalf of Vera's family and her friends, I wish to thank you for being here to wish Vera Godspeed. The vast majority of us here have either worked with Vera Lawton as fellow teachers or are past pupils of Wynberg Girls Junior, and some have even followed in her footsteps and become teachers themselves. During her teaching career at Wynberg, she encountered many hundreds of pupils whose approach not only to learning, but to living, she helped shape. The school motto of honor before honors was a reality for all at Wynberg Girls Junior School and upheld with pride. Miss Lawton, the headmistress, was a formidable lady who influenced a generation of teachers and instilled in them the practice of doing things to the best of one's ability and never to settle for less. She was much admired and held in awe by the staff. Her command of Afrikaans was sketchy at best, so she didn't understand the panicked phrase uttered by those loitering in the staff room at the end of a break. Pas op, hier kom weer 'n beskiet. Dress codes for teachers were strictly enforced during the swinging 60s. Those of us teaching here were not permitted to wear open-toe shoes or sandals, had to wear pantyhose at all times, no slacks of any kind. When Pam Day, who some of you might remember, or Pam Duthie as she was, came to school wearing a skirt just above her knees, Miss Lawton remarked that perhaps the skirt is a bit short, but Pam quickly replied, "Oh no, Miss Lawton, my knees have dropped." Vera Lawton oversaw the growth of this school from a two-stream school to a multi-stream school, occupying not only its original building, but encompassing the adjoining boys' junior school building. You've heard that the hall is named in her honor, and every detail of this hall, from the angle of the seats to where the windows should be and how the blinds should operate, was planned and overseen by her. She drew plans for many things. If you were one of the teachers in the 60s, 70s time, we were constantly moving classrooms, moving desks, doing all kinds of things because she thought it would be better if we moved to another place. Most of the time she was right. She also, when she drew up the plans for the newer part of the school, she drew up a secret sort of plan. She had a private toilet put off her headmistress's office. I bet some of you didn't know that. So I think it's the only head in the whole of the Western Cape that has a private toilet attached to the office. She was fearless in the face of departmental officials and even entertained the Duke and Duchess of Wellington on their visit to Cape Town. That emblem is from the Duke of Wellington. The next section of her life was her very happy retirement. Free of school bells, she was able to enjoy her days with her beloved dogs, digging in the garden, traveling, walking in Kirstenbosch, and of course painting. And as Mrs. Charlton said, some of us are lucky enough to have a Vera original in our homes. Once she moved into the Woodside Retirement Village, she set to work in true headmistress fashion. She organized the library, arranged bridge drives, and even sort of decided where the boreholes should be sunk. She headed up the governing board there. She was a regular attendee at the symphony concerts in the City Hall, although she once admitted to me that she could not sing a single note, but she did enjoy the music. She was a great supporter of animal charities and those benefiting children in need. And when she wasn't busy getting things done, she was making friends. Her garden was her pride and joy. And until very recently, she was dragging bags of compost around and moving pot plants. At the age of 95, she was finally persuaded to stop driving her car, to the relief of many friends. She kept saying, "Yes, but I can see perfectly well." It wasn't a case of that at all. Some years back, an ex-pupil was overheard to say, "Vera Lawton? She can't possibly still be alive." She found that most amusing. My relationship with Vera Lawton started back in 1965. We were Miss Lawton, the principal, and Miss Black, a newly qualified teacher. Very formal. There was no first name terms anywhere in sight. I worked here for about 10 years. I taught various classes and started a library here, did all the sort of things. I had nothing to do with sport, if I could possibly avoid it. I used to do a rain dance when it was my sports day. After about 10 years, she called me aside and she said to me, "This school is not big enough for the both of us. I suggest you look for another post somewhere." So I did. And at that stage, we never imagined that I would end up being a school principal and that we would be great friends. She was Vera and I was Di. Vera was a fiercely independent and courageous woman who never learned to cook or sew, and she never ate vegetables. So to the girls, if someone tells you you have to eat vegetables, you know someone who lived 97 and never ate vegetables. Her secret vice was Cadbury's whole nut chocolate, and it was a staple item on the shopping lists for me. She was also one of the few people who could use the word bally to great effect. She didn't swear. There's a poem called The Dash by Linda Ellis. It asks about the dash between the dates of birth and death and how you spend your dash. I think we can all agree that Vera Yvonne Lawton's dash was admirably filled and that we are all so bally glad that our paths crossed. Someone asked the question, what happens after you die? The answer is, lots of things happen. They just don't involve you. Life has indeed gone on at Weinberg Girls Junior School under the guidance of other heads and will continue to do so. But it was an exceptional lady who nurtured and developed it during a very special 28 years. We shall remember her.
Right, girls, can we please stand up for our song, All Things Bright and Beautiful? And then everybody's welcome to join in. Horsey, who will be reading a poem for us.
When Great Trees Fall by Maya Angelou. When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder. Lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall in forests, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded by fear. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe, briefly. Our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory, suddenly sharpened, examines, gnaws on kind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. And when great souls die, after a period peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses, restored, never to be the same, whisper to us, they existed, they existed. We can be and be better, for they existed. Thank you.
We now have the Crazy Daisy ensemble. Are you going to? They'll be singing The Music's Always There With You by John Rutten.
close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care, so call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. There's a house we can build. Every room inside is filled with things from far away. Special things I compile, each one there to make you smile on a rainy day. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we've lost our minds.
Thank you. What an inspiration, a life of service, a life truly well lived, an enduring legacy. Thank you to all of you for taking the time to join us as we celebrate, remember, and honor the life of the incredible Miss Vera Lawton. Words fall short in expressing the depth of gratitude and admiration of the legacy Miss Lawton leaves behind. We are reminded of the profound impact she has had on countless lives. Her unwavering commitment to excellence, her passion for education has left a lasting mark at Wynberg Girls Junior School. In the words of Mahatma Gandhi, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Ms. Lawson lived a life in service to others, and her impact will continue to be felt for generations to come. Her dedication to the betterment of society through education is a true inspiration to us all. We will carry the torch forward. May her legacy continue to guide us, and may we strive to live lives of service and purpose, just as she did. Thank you. Please can I ask you to stand up as we all sing the school song that Miss Lawton wrote the words for.
Oh, yeah, we learn to love.
And I would like to take this opportunity to invite all our guests to join us in the quad for tea and something to eat. So if I could please ask you to all stand up, and if some of the staff could assist in just showing the way to the quad. If I could ask the girls to please remain seated. Thank you.